What's up? What's up?
What's up?
We're back. All right. So, part two. Part two of What is a Woman? Well, while you were at work today, I wrote down some things.
Okay, you did your homework.
A little bit. Okay. Now, I'm not, a doctor like these professionals are on the documentary, but the question said, what is a woman? So, I actually just read something online about Simone Biles being given an opportunity to be put on the box of Wheaties. And of course, she's Olympic athletes, several medals, gold medals. Okay. She's African American. She's black, but some of the article was just saying about how it was long overdue.
Why Wheaties?
I don't know.
I think we sugar smacks. I like sugar smacks.
Anyway, so she was just saying how it was long overdue, and I was like, that kind of like made me think, like, okay, wow, I mean, you really didn't see a whole lot of black girls, athletes on cereal boxes. We had Serena Williams.
Sugar smacks. Okay, let me just say
sugar. No, so. She just said how it was long overdue, but then it also made me think about when we had cut off yesterday with the young girl was talking about how she was beat out by biologically born men who were transgender girls, and that made me think. So, is it going to stop with Simone Biles being the last black female athlete getting on Wheaties, or now are we going to have to compete with more transgender men, or is it women? I don't know. Are we gonna have to compete with more transgender individuals in order to get those spots?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, in part one, as long as that transgender if he's a man, if he's a woman, transgender woman, man for a woman, whatever you want to call it.
Completely in a man's thing.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
But this is the thing. You have a black girl that fought hard to get where she's at, and then let's say another person who was born a man but changes to a woman decides to compete in something and then they
women's I have a problem with that.
I mean, so it's like, is she going to be the last female woman?
I don't think so.
Naturally born woman. I
hope not. They call her a goat for a reason. She's a goat, man.
But I wrote down some stuff. I said women have fought for years for equal pay. Equal treatment in the workplace, and a fair shot when it comes to men. So we already are trying to, not do exactly what men do, because men can't do what we do, like have babies and stuff. And I know we're not trying to, be exactly like you on the same level. So I said, but now women and people in general are not sure what makes a woman. I see a woman as a treasured human being who is born with the identifying characteristics that makes her a female. Internal and external parts that would never be made by a doctor, because God is the creator of all things.
Okay.
I mean, and that's just that's just my answer to that question. What is a woman? So doctors can try to duplicate the parts a woman is made with, but all in all, there is only one creator, and that is God.
Very true, very true. At the end of the day, they can try. God started with dirt. Come on, man.
And a rib from Adam.
Yeah. So when the doctor started with dirt, then make a human being, that would surprise me. Yeah.
But I think it's, I guess these doctors are trying to make themselves out to be a god. And, of course, that right there is already...
And then the thing is, if they're saying they're competing against God, then God started with dirt. Who made the dirt? God made the dirt, right?
Well, God,
so they can't use God dirt. They got to make their own dirt.
But it was a joke like that. It was like... But it was a joke that says, like, when don't use nothing that I made. It's like... Okay.
You can't start with my dirt. He made the dirt. You gotta start with your own thing.
You gotta start with your own thing.
From scratch. So
I'm drawing a blank. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm drawing a blank. All right, I'm drawing blank. All right, well, let's get back into part 2. I did rewind a little bit so we can catch up on the young lady's story who was talking about it.
We ready.
Ready?
We ready.
All right.
And once the gun went off, the 2 transgender athletes took off flying and left all of us girls in the dust. Throughout all 4 years of high school, I was forced to compete against biological males. I only competed against them in sprinting events, but I raced against these athletes over a dozen times throughout the years, and every single time I lost.
Did they inch you out of medals that you would have won otherwise, or trophies you would have won?
They beat me out by 20 meters out of medals, and qualifying spots. I missed out on qualifying for New England's. I had to go in the long jump and the 4x200 meter relay, so I was forced on the sidelines in my own event, and if they were not there, I would have been able to qualify. So I missed out on so much throughout my high school career.
Did they win all the events or almost all the events?
Between the 2 of them, they won every single event they competed in.
How does that feel?
It is so
Heart crushing.
frustrating and heartbreaking because we elite female athletes train so hard to shave just fractions of a second off of our time. And going into races knowing that we will never be able to win.
Feels like all that work gone to waste?
Yeah.
It does. After so many losses, it just gets to the point of, why am I even doing this? Why am I keep training so hard and sacrificing so much just to place 3rd and beyond?
Wow. Washington, D.C.
Case in Connecticut, there were 2 male track runners.
They were trans girls.
Right. And who decided that they were going to race against the girls. And you look at those individuals, you look at their times against the men, against the boys, so they were kind of middle of the pack. And then they're racing the girls and they're, 1st and 2nd place. Is that indicative of some kind of unfair advantage that those individuals might have against the girls?
No, it's not indicative of an unfair advantage. And I think part of the proof of this is that more transgender girls are coming out in high school and still playing sports, and they're not winning. The Connecticut case is the exception. It got a lot of attention because those 2 trans girls performed well, but there are many more trans girls competing in sports, and they don't excel. Because at the end of the day, whether or not you win a game is about how hard you work in your practice, and most of us aren't going to win, and that goes for transgender athletes too.
This right here would me out now.
The norm is that transgender youth don't win that much in sports games.
Alana McLaughlin was very appreciative for Provost to take this fight. I don't know how appreciative is now, but she got a couple punches in.
It is very much the exception when a transgender young person does win.
And the tap!
And it's because there's not really an advantage to being trans. Only a few people are going to lead the pack.
There are some slight differences, but does it translate to a competitive advantage? I think you'd be very hard-pressed to prove that.
You should have to prove that.
If there was a big advantage to being transgender in sports, then we would see transgender women totally dominate.
And over the last half of the pool, nobody will touch Leah Thomas.
Feel like a woman. Transgender swimmer Leah Thomas breaking barriers and records. But in a new article, Sports Illustrated calls the college senior the most controversial athlete in America.
Leah obviously helps us do better, right? Leah's swimming really fast. Leah's performance helps the University of Pennsylvania swim team. The feeling of winning doesn't feel as good anymore because it feels tainted. There was a lot of things you couldn't talk about that were very concerning, like a locker room situation. If you even brought up concerns about it, you were transphobic. If you even bring up the fact that Leah swimming might not be fair, you were immediately shut down as being called a hateful person or transphobic.
But there's never any conversation. The coaches don't sit everyone down and acknowledge what everyone's really upset about.
So Penn actually brought in people high up in the athletic department to talk to us. They brought in someone from like the LGBTQ center. They brought in someone from the psychological services.
So you're upset about what's happening, and so you need psychological help.
Yeah, and they told us in this meeting, they said, look, we
Well,
understand
she
there's an array
crazy,
of
'cause
emotions,
she-
but Leah's swimming is a non-negotiable. However, we can help you make that okay. That's what we're here for.
So you're anonymous for this interview. Why did you decide that you can't have your face out there saying these things?
They've made it pretty clear that if you speak up about it and you say anything negative, that like your life will be over in some way.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be blasted all over the internet as a transphobe if you come out, and then you'll never be able to get a
messed up,
job.
man.
Like anyone who wants to hire you will look you up and see you're transphobic, and your life will be over.
That's crazy.
Let's say that I identified as a woman tomorrow, and I wanted to go into the same locker room where you are. Should I be allowed to do that? As long as I identify that way?
I don't know. I just feel that other women would be uncomfortable by you walking in there.
Ella dice que qué tú piensas acerca de que los hombres que son transexuales usen baños de mujeres. ¿Tú crees que está bien?
No, porque tiene bien.
Controversy at a health club in Koreatown over the issue of gender.
That's right. Video of spa goers complaining was posted on social media.
I just want to be clear with you. It's okay for a man to go into the women's section, show his penis around the other women, young little girls underage. Your spa, we spa, condone that. Is that what you're saying? Like I asked. It's so he can stay there. He can stay there. What sexual orientation? I see a dick.
Police identified the person involved as 52-year-old Darren Morager of Riverside County. Morager, who has been a registered sex offender since 2006, now faces 5 felony counts of indecent.
Okay, so he's a sex offender, but they can't remove him at the restroom because he says he's a woman.
He in another restaurant now. They say he got several.
But he was in that restroom
yeah.
with children.
But that's the thing,
But
man.
because
You
he said he was
know, people are terrified of saying something. LGBTQ community, man, is like, they're like gangsters, man. And a lot of people are just, I don't want to be, called out as a person that's saying that I hate transgender man.
But that's not what you're. But that's not what you're saying.
That's what they're saying.
All you're saying is like, hey, let me speak my mind. Let me have my thought, like the young lady. She's hiding her face.
If that would have happened and I was going to that spa and my child was there, that'd be the last time I went to that spa.
No,
I pulled my child out of there. I'm not gonna argue with you about your policies, but I would have been gone.
But it's just not okay. Now it's no longer human. We don't have rights anymore as individuals. We have one person's or one group of people's rights. Okay.
Hello, I'm Congressman.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Trans Month of Visibility is a time to recognize the strength, diversity, and resiliency of the transgender community. Together, we can make our country and our world a more accepting place by speaking out against transphobia at the source and supporting the trans community by getting the Equality Act signed into law.
Congressman, thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. You are the first member of Congress who's a member of the LGBT community and also a person of Asian descent. You're also a big proponent of the Equality Act.
Yes.
What is the Equality Act? If you were to just summarize it very briefly, I know it does a lot.
The most simplest way to talk about the Equality Act is that it simply amends the 1964 Civil Rights Act to include sexual orientation and gender identity. So public accommodations is one area.
What's a way that someone who's LGBT could be discriminated in public accommodations currently?
Currently, public accommodations is the whole area of, hotels and motels and
bathrooms and sports teams. Is that?
I say bathrooms, sports teams, athletic events.
Let's get into more specific policy issues. There are
The
some
accommodation was like a wheelchair.
I've talked to a few who say this. They say, hey, I'd like some privacy in the bathroom. I'd prefer not to encounter naked penises, frankly. They say even that the penis is a telltale sign that someone is a male. I mean, there are people who kind of really bought into the rumor that only men have penises. How do we account for that? How do you respond to that?
Well, what I would say is that most transgender people that I know, and it's a very, I think, distinct.
We're not talking about just the ones you
minority
know.
of people. It is a very, I think, we're talking about a lot of people. I think a person who wants to use a women's bathroom, who identifies as transgender, really does think of themselves as a female. So how we go about trying to, respect their basic right to live, I think will be an important part of this law. And
With the
bathrooms.
law.
Well, wait a minute. Bathrooms are, where you want to take this conversation, instead of the basic right to just life.
Yeah, all over the place.
Is something that I'm kind of mystified that you're kind of not focusing on first. So we're going straight to the controversy over bathrooms. So you know what? I think this interview is over. Yeah. I think this interview is over.
I just have one last question.
The interview's over.
We want to know what is a woman?
Please.
He is my new favorite person in the
He
world.
is not losing his job, man. He's not going to be brand transphobia.
Fair question. I just want to know what is a woman.
We're not gonna find out.
Wow.
My trip to California isn't providing many answers, but at least I'm making new friends.
Wait, what the hell?
You worry about kids walking around out here?
No, because I raised two daughters. They're two of the most well-adjusted adults. They grew up around naked people, and there's been studies that have shown that children raised around non-sexual nudity actually have fewer hang-ups when they're adults.
People do have hang-ups. There's a lot of things hanging right now during this conversation. Can anyone be any gender they want to be? Can a man become a woman if he wants to be?
I leave that. I mean, what people do, that's personal choice. People can live the life they want to. I'm trying to live the life I want to, an authentic life, and that's why I respect other people's rights to choose what they want to do.
Well, why are you asking a gay man as to what it means to be a woman? You should be asking women what it means to be a woman, especially trans women, what it means to be a woman.
I'm asking all kinds of people. Can anyone have an opinion about it?
Only people who are women. Gay men don't know nothing about what it means to be a woman.
Have you told gay men here in San Francisco that they're not allowed to talk about this?
No. But it's not like I come around and say what a gay man is allowed to be.
So you're saying if you're not a woman, then you shouldn't have an opinion.
Where does a guy get a right to say what a woman is? Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is?
This is actually a genuine mistake. I am sorry I even did
You want to tell us what a woman is?
I like that one.
If my friend in the purple hat is correct, and only women can tell me what a woman is, I guess I need to go where the women are.
With them legs?
What is a woman? Can you tell me that?
Oh, God.
Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea. So, I see girls, vagina. Does that mean that they're the only people who can get pregnant?
If men can get pregnant too, I think they want the right to choose.
But men can get pregnant?
We're saying someone who was born as a woman but identifies as a man. That
Is it a man?
real man.
It's a real man.
Yeah.
So men can get pregnant.
Yes, if we're saying yes. They have the parts to do so.
Is it just women that give birth, or is it?
Or I guess, yeah.
So men can give birth too?
With a vagina.
But that could be a man or a woman.
Well, I mean, I think that's the whole point, right? That it's fluid. The way that we define these things changes a lot.
I'm asking these questions. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what a woman is. That's why I'm here. And this is the Women's March. I figured this is a good place to find out. I've come all this way to ask that question. Can anyone tell me what a woman is?
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that? How am I harassing? I'm asking a question.
Wow. Oh, speak up for us.
What is a woman? Can anyone here at the Women's March tell me what a woman is? How about you tell me what a woman is and I'll put a mask on? Sir, tell me what a woman is and I'll put a mask on.
Wow. Wow.
Please, if one
This
person
thing
can
is
tell me what a woman
serious. That's to do it.
I would have.
That'll do it. Wow.
I've been all over America. I still can't find an answer.
You gotta do Pamela Anderson.
Maybe I'm looking too close to home.
Nairobi. How about Africa?
That's the question, right?
We Americans just don't know the answer.
We're not gonna answer it.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Cheetah.
We came a long way to come and talk to you guys. Thousands of miles from America. So thank you for inviting us into your tribe, first of all.
I can say it is my pleasure to meet you and feel most welcome. But you're here to learn with me. I'm here to learn with you too.
Great. What's the right form here?
Sister?
Just with the elbow?
Yeah.
I mean, they're laughing, so I guess it's not good, but I thought it was pretty good. Not good enough to be a man yet in your tribe, but what does a man do? What are his roles within the tribe?
At the role of a man, you need to work for your woman. Secondly, to have children. If you have children and you don't have something to feed them, you are not still a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the blood.
It's the best raw kidney I've had in my life. What if a man decides that he wants to do the roles of a woman?
Kidogro orna yende hikunya lele aines ndogringen kiro. In Maasai community, it will not exist at all.
Doesn't exist? What if a man decides that his gender identity is woman?
Kidogro orna yende lele nega wanana inkiro.
It got quiet.
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender? Transgender?
No.
No?
It will look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong in your mind. Something wrong in your family, something wrong in you.
Wow. Well, I would say that's wisdom.
If someone was non-binary. Non-binary? Do you know? Like non.
Nothing.
Like someone is.
You're not a woman. You're not a man.
Yeah, someone is neither. There's something else. Is that?
He's saying we have never seen things like those. For a man, he has a penis. For a woman, he has a vagina. So we know this is a lady, this is a man.
What if it's a woman with it? What if it's a woman with a penis?
Both.
Is that?
And double.
People are laughing. Is that a dumb question?
They're just laughing because they have never heard something like
right.
This is their first time.
Never heard it before.
No. A woman have a penis and she is a woman.
In my country, I can't go a day without hearing it. We hear it every day. So in my country, sometimes you'll hear people say, a man will say that I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. And so they say that I have a woman trapped inside me.
They want to know a woman has the breast.
Breast.
Secondly, she has a vagina.
Vagina.
And the question is, does this man deliver?
Does he deliver babies? No, not as far as I know.
The question is, let's say if you want to sleep a woman, definitely you'll do sex.
Sex with a woman, yeah.
And you the vagina, is it? But for the man, where do you You have that question.
I don't know all the logistics of it. Based on what I'm saying, would you ever want to move to America?
They say no, never.
What is a woman, if you had to give it a definition?
She's saying a woman delivered, a man cannot.
So it sounds like you don't spend a lot of time thinking about gender. You just kind of live your lives. You don't think much about it.
He said no, because we believe that's the God plan.
God's plan.
He's saying that I'm shocked on what you are telling me.
He's shocked.
Yeah.
You're shocked by what they tell us too.
Side people don't think much about gender, but they have a firm sense of their identity. It's clear that gender ideology is a uniquely Western phenomenon. So where did all this come from? Who came up with it? And why?
All right, we're going to stop right there, guys.
We still have 10 more minutes.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
28.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Man, I was into that.
I know, me too.
I love the simple, the kids
the
messed
simple,
simple
response. Man. I mean,
I love those answers, man.
I'm
in other countries, they're like, what in the world?
Like, what is that?
What y'all got going on over there?
I mean, it should be a simple answer, and it's just like, why is this a priority? I mean, there's so many other things that are going on in the world. It's like,
man, we have in America we have
our priorities
so detached with reality, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that we're like that. You know, you go to other countries and they're like, what are you asking me?
Yeah.
A man is a man, a woman is a woman. What are you asking? Well, can he have two? What? I don't understand the question you're asking. They use the KISS method. They keep it simple. A woman delivers.
A man cannot.
A man cannot. Simple as that.
Wow, I mean, you know, you just have to just pray for the country, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to think, oh, because you're Christian, you think that just one. Listen, I'm not telling you how to think. I mean, wrong is wrong and right is right at this point. I mean, because at the same time,
my problem is when you brand me transphobia, you know, because I'm voicing my opinion, and you're able to voice your opinion. And
what does it make you? I mean, I thought we had freedom of speech.
Phobia trans? Can I say it like
I don't know. It's just making up words, man. It's just crazy. It's just sad.
But that other guy, he was you know, his job and dealing with politics, he was kind of scared. He like, man, look, it's
yeah,
over,
he didn't want to say the wrong thing.
Because if I say the wrong thing, man, this is my job. They're gonna brand me transphobia. That means that's the end of my career. And I'm just surprised that it's that deep where, you know, the LGBTQ community can come in and just brand you as that, and your job is over when it comes to government, you know, jobs and stuff. It's over.
But that's,
you know,
but that's
and it's
insane.
sad.
That is insane. I mean,
as long as you're not saying that it's a hate thing. Oh, I hate them. Now that's wrong. That's dead wrong. We still got to show love to one another. Yeah. But we should be able to voice our opinion no matter.
Should be able to voice. Somebody posted in the comments on part 1 that they are giving these kids these medications in school, and parents are allowing their 15-year-old and 16-year-old daughters to get their breasts cut off because they feel that they're a boy. And it's like, wow, like, I was just reading that comment. I read it like 3 times because I was like, okay, I work at the schools. So it's just like, okay, where is this happening at? Where are these? And then they said, I guess the person said something about parents are not aware that these kids are being given these things. And that's, well, of course, you know, it was just a comment I read from the first one. Oh, okay. And it was just saying how these kids are like, oh, I feel like a boy. And then they automatically, hey, let's go get your breast cut off. Like, when did this...
But other than that, man, I enjoyed that. It was over so fast.
It was over so fast, but I was into that one. But part 3...
I love Africa, man.
I love Africa, too.
Oh, man. The animals, it was so beautiful, man. And they just had the kiss method down.
Now, the little flies...
Oh, I deal with the flies.
I can't. I'm just like, what? I'm just wanting to handle my fan through this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, that is part 2. I have to take what I can.
All right, to be continued.
Peace.